Hi, I'm Joseph Phillips. I'm the founder of PURE Management Alliance, and I want to welcome you to this webinar where tonight we're going to have a conversation with our PURE Ambassador, Lee Lambert. So Lee, welcome to the webinar. Why don't you tell people a little bit about your background and introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah, I'd be glad to, Joe. I appreciate it. My background's long. I'm 55 years in this business, so I won't recap every year, but basically, I've been doing project management since about 1966, and through that process, my learning curve has been long, as you can see. But when I got involved with the PMP, as one of the 5 founders of the PMP organization, I really started to see what the potential was. I really began to realize this is just not something to talk about. There's things here that you can do that make a difference. So when we got up to 1,500,000 PMPs in the world, I was a little bit stunned with that. That was an awfully big number, but it confirmed what I had thought, that people recognize the value. So when you and I spoke about getting involved with this PURE thing, I frankly didn't know what the heck it was. Catchy little title, PURE. But when I got a chance to dig into it, I started to realize this is something new and exciting, just like it was in '81 with the PMP. So that got me fired up. And then I said, well, if I'm going to be the ambassador for this product, then I better make sure that I know this product's good. So I started on the 3rd of this month, and I've gone through all 29 courses,
right,
and passed all the little example tests at the end of them. But what I was looking for, I found. I found a very different take on some of the things that we can do with project management. I found some of the finest instructors I think I've ever run across, and many of them I've never known.
right.
And I don't know why, because you've really assembled a cast of heroes here.
Thank you.
So this first week has been really kind of crazy, and the people have been interested. I'm getting lots of emails from people outside the country, international. What is this all about? So I'm excited. I'm fired up. I mean, I don't know. I'm 79, so hell, I don't know how long I can stay with you, but I'll stay as long as I can.
Well, I know you and I have, been in touch over the years. As I've wrote about the PMP and I've taught the PMP, and I've always looked up to you and kind of looked at you as a role model and a mentor in my career. And I've always been thankful for that. And then, over the past couple of years, we became, more associated with more and more things online and LinkedIn. And when we had that initial conversation about, how we might work together, I could see a little skepticism in your eyes as we begin to talk. And so I was, but I was really thrilled though that you were curious enough to look at it and I didn't want someone to just take it, we're going to run with this, but that you bought into it and that you had to see what we were doing. And like you said, we've got some incredible people that are delivering these presentations in the course, 29 different classes. And most of these people are not like you and I. They're not public speakers. They're not out teaching. They are doing. I mean, they're immersed in the discipline. And I know that you and I have led projects, obviously, but I wanted people from all different industries and a lot of different backgrounds and different age groups to bring what works for them. And so I specifically looked for people, as we begin to curate the trainers, I wanted people that they weren't all IT or they weren't all construction or they weren't all healthcare. I wanted a real good distribution of people's backgrounds, and that they could bring something to our community that said, this is how you do it. Like this is how you actually make your project better, or how you grow in your career. Much like what you've done in your career, you've always been willing to coach and mentor and, talk to all the different PMI chapters a lot. So that was, my thought process. process in that. And I didn't want it to be just me. I wanted people that had a different take and had different exposure to different types of projects than what I had. So that was how that came about. And like we've talked about, it took 2 years just to get here. And then in that 2 years, there were different, kind of renditions of the model and different renditions of how I thought the class might look like. And I'm really happy that, we took our time and brainstormed and talked to different people before I brought this out or before I even showed you. So yeah, we've got a really, really good group of people on a lot of different topics. And, some of those folks have been, doing project management for, 30, 40, maybe 50 years if we, some of those, and then some of them are, maybe 5 to 10 years. So we have just a big assortment of trainers and project managers. If you were to kind of coach or advise, the folks that are out there about should they get involved with PURE, should they pursue this, what would be some compelling reasons that you would lay out besides just getting a new credential?
Yeah, I mean, the new credential to me is kind of a byproduct. What I want to see is improved performance in the workplace.
Right.
And what I heard in these 29, I mean, I never had one of them. I struggled a little bit with the environmental guide, the PhD environmental guide. I struggled with a little bit making that transition to the project management world. But even then, I could see there's some applications here that take this process and really have it pay off. So, I don't discount the credential, but I don't want that to be what I'm going for. I want them to go for improvement in performance. And one of the reasons I stopped teaching for the PMP was it started to move in the direction of I was teaching somebody how to pass a test, not teaching them how to actually manage projects. And my name's associated with it. And just like it is with PURE now, I don't give my name out easily. Right. Because I've got a reputation I need to stick up to as well. And I thought this looked like, I always look around and there's something that could get me excited. Hadn't been anything for a long time. So really, I was very thankful that we got a chance to connect. And the timing was ironic. I had no idea you were rolling this thing out this month. And we just had a casual conversation. The next thing you know, I'm the ambassador. And I'm proud of it. I think you got a winner here. I think people are gonna take, and the other advantage you have, I think, is the virtual approach now frees you up to go anywhere in the world. Right. You don't have to worry about sending instructors and materials and all those things. So for me, I travel all over the world, you know that, and everywhere I go. I was just in Singapore this last week, and this topic came up, and I wasn't there for PMI. I was there for myself, and so I could say anything I want. And I made it pretty clear that this is something, and these were young people. These were college students at Singapore University. I said, this is an ideal way for you to get your feet wet in terms of project management. Because by the time you go through this curriculum, you'll be exposed to all the things you better learn if you're going to really be an active project manager.
Yeah, the reason why PURE is to not just get another credential. It is to learn real world application of how to be a better project manager. The whole principle of PURE is business value, not to get a credential. Like you said, the credential is a byproduct. And certainly, I think as this grows, it will have a value just to have that credential. But the underlying motive for PURE is I want to learn something from these different courses that I can go apply today to be a better PM. The real world application from the different people that are teaching these courses is so important. I think that we get hung up a lot, the project management community, or like all different communities, about having a credential or having a certification. While there's value in that, if you can't do it, just because you have a credential doesn't mean you're a good whatever. So it's really in the application. And that was our whole goal, and what we talked about is the different instructors collectively in 101 is at the end of this. In fact, the question we always asked in our review was, at the end of this, what would be one thing without a doubt that people can take and apply today to make their projects better? So that was a consistent question that everybody had to answer as they created the course or we took them into the program. It was not to pass the test. I think you get hung up on passing the test. That's not the point. The point is to be a better PM.
Well, and I think that the advantage you have with the team you've selected, and I'm thinking back to all of them, they're all excited and enthusiastic about the topic that they're sharing. And you can tell, I mean, they're not just droning it out. They're actually enthusiastically supporting, here's some things you should be doing if you're going to be a project manager. I loved it. I really enjoyed it. I mean, the 30 or so hours, 60 hours, 100 hours it was, went by very quickly.
Yes, it's really slightly more than 60 hours of video. So it's a lot. It's a lot to digest, but it's also not just one instructor. I mean, you and I know not everybody's going to love us. Not everybody loves every instructor.
Sure.
But there's a variety. So you get you get one instructor you don't like, you get to my class, you have to endure it, then you can go on to the next one. But there is a variety. And the other thing you said so important too is that these folks are excited about what they're teaching. So everyone, we didn't create the curriculum. We had kind of these domains that we wanted, but we wanted to find people that were very passionate about this topic, like AI or startup or quality or whatever it is, that's what was dear to them heart. That's what really clicked. It got them excited rather than teaching, making assignments of this is what you're going to teach. It's like, what are you really excited about? What makes a difference in your projects and in your life that you want to share with the audience? And so I think we were very successful in that with the folks that we got on the team. They're all excited about that product that they're teaching or that topic that they're teaching. So I'm really happy with it. I think we've got just an incredible team, really, really good leaders and people that are doing. And like you said, some of these folks you may never have heard of before. They have a relatively small following.
Yeah. No, I think you struck gold with that course on the military, the military preparation. You struck gold on that one. Not only is he crazy enthusiastic about what he's teaching, but he's right, and he's going to open up a whole new world to the military because it is so. I've said this for several years now. Give me a guy just got out of the military. He's already ready to be a project manager. So you just smooth off the rough edges, and you got yourself a good guy. I think that course is going to be very popular. I mean, I can see people taking that just for that course.
We did a talk just a couple of weeks ago. Russell and I did, and RW, but Russell Parker. So yeah, he's a very lively individual, and he actually has 2 courses in the program. So that is, but he is a sharp guy, and we're really happy to have him involved. And without a doubt, he's made that transition and understands the military background and how you're already doing, like most of us that come into the PM world, you're already doing project management. You don't have the nomenclature or know that you are, and it's keeping it real world and having that common sense to it. Well, tell us a little bit, Lee, about your recent travels. I know you just talked about going to Singapore, and tell people where you're going next. I think it's pretty exciting and pretty big.
Yeah, reputation can be good or bad. Right now, it's good.
It's
my
good.
reputation is, I know the topic. There's no better discussion about that. But they claim I'm inspirational. They claim I'm motivated, and all the things that we recognize in your instructors. To be honest with you, and so I've been in about 50 countries over the last 2.5 years, all based on speaking project management. That's what they want to hear. So I get huge crowds of people. We have a lot of fun with it. You can't have fun, why bother? But this year, I kind of slowed down this year and decided I think I want to do more domestic. I kind of left the North America out for 2 years.
Sure.
So I'm starting to see more of those come in, but I still have Pakistan and Rome, and I still got a nice list of on the road ones as well. But I feel like I always judge by when the program's over, how many people hang around for a selfie picture. That's how I judge. And the higher that number, the better I know I did. So I'm the selfie king of project management. We have a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, I know you do. And I know that because you're just a warm, welcoming individual, but also your presence on LinkedIn. I see you congratulate people over and over and over as they earn their PMP. So I always find that motivating that you take the time to do that, considering who you are and your background. I think that's admirable.
I get some very touching feedback from people who just feel honored. I mean, it's Lee Lambert, for God's sake. They feel honored.
Lee Lambert.
Yeah. And I would never stop doing it. When I started doing that about 2 years ago, people thought it was crazy. You're never going to be able to keep up. I do about 10 or 12 a day.
Yeah.
So 2-3 hours a day I spend congratulating. I'm wise enough to shift it around a little so it's not a clone message. It's personalized.
Right.
So I have fun with that. And that's whenever I go anywhere, people introduce themselves. I follow you on LinkedIn. And so, 100,000 others do too. So thank you.
Right. Well, I just think it's, I know you're humble, but I also know your career has been in project management and helping people grow in their career. And that's why I'm very thankful to have you involved and look up to you as a mentor and, some guidance already that we've talked about with the program, just from your years of experience. And you've always been willing to do that for other people too. And so I admire that and emulate that with my career, my business. And I think if you're watching out there and you've had a connection with Lee or a story to tell about Lee, why don't you leave that in the comments and share that? And we'll brag Lee up a little bit because he's too humble to do it himself. So I know the millions of people that Lee's touched in his career, that you all are out there and have probably had an interaction with Lee. So it'll be fun, Lee, to see what people say and as they watch this. One of the things that I like to do when I interview these different people is if you were to give advice to someone that's pretty new in their career as a project manager, and your advice would be how they could grow in their career, how they could be an effective project manager, like a little nugget or a secret or something you've learned, what would that advice be?
Yeah, I give it almost everywhere I go. I picked it up when I was young. When I first started my working career, one of the things I don't like is work. Never been a big fan. So I thought, well, what do you do to make it easier to get a job done? So what I concluded was I need to find the smartest guy in the room and suck his brain. Why take 5 years to learn all that when I can get it from a mentor? So that was my first experience with a mentor. I've worked for 4 different companies. I have 4 names that I've never forgotten. Unfortunately, 2 have passed that were major impact on my career. And so when I had a problem, I had an issue, I go to the mentor and say, look, you've been doing this for years. How would you handle it? Now you have to realize you can't apply that verbatim. You've got to put your own spin on it. You got to be true to yourself. But what mentors do is they give you that framework to then operate within. And I think that's paid. It's paid huge dividends for me. And I've really practiced that. Even in training, I got hooked up with a consulting company to put earned value in place at General Electric, and I sucked their brains, man. And pretty soon I was like the king of earned value training, because it's not, you got to understand, project management's not brain surgery. And if you really think about it in that context and use common sense uh, for clarity, you can't really go wrong. But you got to start young. I was probably 19 or 20 when I started. I didn't really become an active project management guy till about 73 with General Electric. But I was doing it. Everything's a project. So you're doing project work no matter what kind of work you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think what's really good is do you learn from someone who's smarter than me? Yeah,
That's right.
yeah. And then one of the things that I've had in my career in the last 2-3 years is it suddenly dawned on me finally that I don't know everything and I can't do everything. And so I've adapted this kind of personal mantra, and that is let plumbers plumb. I don't know how to do plumbing, so let's hire a plumber. And so it's in my business and in projects that I have is stay in my lane, and I'm really good at what I do, but recognize that I have shortcomings and I have to rely on other people, and then to trust those people to, do what they're going to do.
Well, that really fits nicely with that saying we have in project management. You don't have to know all the answers, but you need to know where to go get them.
Yeah, right.
That's basically what we're saying, and that's the way I am. Now I got to tell you, I put a little post in. I do 3 a day, as you know, but I put a little post in about finishing the course, and I pointed out in there that I learned something new from every one of those instructors, and I thought I knew everything. So I mean, if I can still find value, I know everybody else can.
Absolutely. The same with me. And like I said, we wanted every instructor was like, okay, what's one thing that I can take from this and apply today? But there's multiple things. And and so many of those courses maybe think about things differently or have a different tack or a different approach. It's not the same tired thing that we hear over and over. Okay, plan and then execute and communication. Like those are important, but like how do I do it? Where's the doing and the idea of creating business value? That's the whole thrust of the program.
Well, I think part of the benefit of what this approach is it kind of makes somebody realize, hey, I can do this. This is not beyond my capability. I can do this, and gives them some motivation to try it.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Is like I have sometimes a reception from people that this is really difficult stuff, that this is really hard, and it's not easy or everyone would do it. It is tedious. It's like playing chess without all the pieces, but it's also common sense and logic and the critical thinking. And then the other side of that, of course, we have the emotional intelligence. Most project managers that I meet are good communicators and they have emotional intelligence because they can talk to people. But it's the balance of those two to have that ability to think through and to be logical and creative, but also to have that ability to talk and deal with people. It's so much of what you do is deal with people. And it's so important not to overlook that, the idea of power skills or soft skills or whatever you want to call them. But you have that in every role. There are very few careers where you don't have to deal with people.
That's right.
Think of too many. And if you're in the PM world, whether you're in construction or IT or healthcare, you have to deal with people and their personalities and their willingness or unwillingness to get things done. So how do you manage that scenario?
One thing I always do is recommend to new people, especially Toastmasters.
Right.
My position is, really what we generate is management support information. That means somebody's got to communicate that information. And if you can't be an effective communicator, I don't care how much data you come up with, you're not going to be able to get the job done. So I'm really really high on. I haven't taken Toastmasters myself, but I'm really high on what I've seen come out of the Toastmasters program.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it's not just the idea of public speaking, but it's how to formulate your thoughts into a story, it's selling your idea or selling your solution, or be able to communicate bad news or to have difficult conversations.
Absolutely. Yep.
Stuff you're going to do every day. It's not always a fun conversation. It is that negotiation and being transparent and being honest. And, we don't candy coat things. Sometimes you just have to say what it is. It's not always
one of the best negotiators I've run into for a long time in Mariana Skubek from Slovenia. I've worked with her several times. She's a sharp gal, and negotiation really kind of her expertise. She's really good at it. She's really good at it. So yeah, there's a few of them I know personally, but most of them are new exposure, which I'm kind of happy about.
Well, you can, anybody wants to check out the team and all of our background on puremanagementalliance.com. There's a page there you can look at all of the instructors and their biography. I mean, we have just a real smattering of folks with, we have PhDs all the way down to guys like me that barely made it through high school. So there's a
yeah.
People say, "Did you go to school for that?" No, I got kicked out of school for that.
Exactly.
But we have some great instructors. So if you're curious about who these folks are that are teaching, you hop out to our site, just click on the team tab, and you can look at everybody's bio and their background. And I think you'll be impressed.
The gentleman from England, very impressive.
Yes.
Very impressive.
Yeah. He's
it makes it kind of fun. I like the way he does it. He's a good instructor.
Yeah, he's Dave Westgarth, a good guy, and very sharp, and he's fun too. And one of my favorites is my friend Jim Chambers. Dr. Chambers and I worked on a big project together at a hospital, and so we became pretty tight. And then we've worked on several projects then and kept in touch. And so when this came around, he was like, "Oh, I don't know if I want to teach anymore." He taught university level. So I had to bribe him, and take him fishing and really get him to feel guilty to come on board. But his class is on customer service, and he just does. I know he's talked about it. He's passionate about it, about how project management.
Well, that's customer service. The beauty of Jim is that sucker's passionate. I mean, he believes in customer service stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, even back we were on that project, and you have a difficult stakeholder. It's like, that's a customer. That's your customer. How would you handle that? That's your business. How do you handle that? And to coach through those things, he just does a fantastic job. And we have, just Robert Heen that I've done a few of these panels with. I know Robert. He does a great job. He's taught a few courses in the program. And so I think he's another one that he believes, and that's so important. You have to believe what you're speaking about.
Well, to be a good instructor, you have to believe it, I think.
Yeah.
I really do. Students aren't stupid. They'll see through it in a heartbeat.
Exactly. Another one that we have is Walt Sperling. Walt and I have been colleagues for a little while, and so Walt came aboard, and he does communication. And Walt comes from a construction background, kind of bridges that gap from IT and construction and planning and estimating, but it's all about communication. Another one of my friends that I've met through this is Jeremiah Hammond. He did the emotional intelligence, is a really good speaker, really believes about having that human connection, why it's so important, not just in project management, but like in your life and your relationships. You have to have emotional intelligence.
He was one of the first ones I was very impressed from the start. I liked him a lot. He was very, very effective.
What do you think about the AI course from Joshua?
It was good. He's
a character, isn't he? He's lively. Yeah.
It's AI, you got to be good because it's moving fast.
Right.
If you don't keep up, you're going to be left behind.
Exactly.
No, he's good. He knows his topic.
Yeah, he's a lively guy. We did a panel with him not too long ago, and he'll be coming on again in some future ones. And then Tanya Boyd did a great job. She taught
I know
our
Tanya
risk
well.
course. Yeah, I thought you knew Tanya. And then one that I really enjoyed was Ben Chan on creativity. That project management is creative. It's you're solving things. You have to be creative and look at things from different angles. Rely on your team to help you be creative. And so I thought that was a really unique topic about being creative.
I think Ben does a great job. I think that message that Ben has is important because if I use creative thinking, I may be able to shorten the time frame. I may be able to deliver better quality. Don't just go like, well, this is the way they said to go.
Right.
Let's think about it on the way. And Ben does a great job of that.
I agree. Yeah, he's an interesting guy as well. And then Andrea Pratt-Smith on time management. That's another course that I think I know she teaches time management and coaches on time management as a really clever way
that she with her in the Bahamas.
Right.
I went there for one meeting. I thought that's what I was going for. Next thing I know, I was on 2 TV shows and a college interview. I mean, I was exhausted by the end of the week that I spent there. But she's very eager and very knowledgeable.
So she did a good use of time management for your schedule.
Yeah, she definitely time managed my schedule for sure.
And then we have the course from Clinton Brooks Herman on adaptive project management and about
it looks like he's been around doing it a while.
Yeah,
I kind of watched him. He was very structured in how he did it, but he had a great message.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, he's very, very deliberate, very direct, and he knows what he's talking about. It's an important thing. A lot of nuggets in there. And then, do you know Ellen Ramsey? I think you've interacted with Ellen.
I don't, not until this time. No.
Okay, sure. So she's Dr. Ellen Ramsey, and she did the course on leadership and leading teams and the idea of servant leadership and emergent leadership. And she's fantastic. She and I just did a presentation a few days ago about PURE for a group and for one of her clients. It was really good. And then John Conley did the personality testing course about understanding your personality and others, of course, emotional intelligence. And then Melissa Chapman on communication. She did a great job about how to communicate and not always what you do say, but what you don't say. That was very good. And then I believe you know my friend Tony Johnson. So Tony, he did the course on the WBS and scope management, requirements gathering. Tony's
that's an important course. Very important.
Right. Yeah. Tony's a great guy.
The one I was surprised that I took was a startup, for project management for a startup.
Right. Yeah.
That was an interesting selection. But the more I thought about it, the more there are a lot of people out there thinking, I think I can do this. Well, then give them the tools to do it. So, and she knows her business. No question about that.
Candace Jackson. Yeah. She's a fantastic instructor, but she knows what she's talking about, but she also knows there's a commonality between running a small business and running a project.
Sure.
I think she makes that connection beautifully, that you have to have a vision for your business, for your project. There's a budget, and you have timing and limited resources and constraints. So yeah, I was really thrilled that when she decided to get involved, and it's a little different topic, something you don't see in the run of the mill. Yeah. So I was very happy with that. It's a short course, so if you're not interested in starting a business, there's still a lot you can get from that and apply to your.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So really good. I think we've got a great team. A lot of interesting characters in the group. And if you're watching this webinar, you can check out some of the others that we have. We've done some panels with all the instructors. And I know, Lee, you've got some things lined up with some of the instructors as well coming up that we'll share here on our YouTube channel. Anything else you'd like to add, or a little piece of advice you want to give to people as we wrap up our time?
Yeah, I do have some, really not topic specific. One of the things I noticed your 2 years delivered was a very effective and efficient system for giving these programs, evaluating them, moving on, giving the test. Everything was smooth. I thought I had one issue and it went away. It was my own fault. It's just I'm to be honest with you, I'm a little bit surprised at how professional it is.
Well, I'm a big fan. If you're going to do something, you may as well do it right. I often say if you're going to get wet, you might as well go swimming. You know.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, right.
If you're going to eat out, have a good meal out. So when we set about doing this, we went through a lot of testing even before we brought the instructors on. A lot of learning, you know, and again, let plumbers plumb. I hired some developers to help me make that system the way it is. I don't know how they'd write code, but I had a vision of what I wanted and was able to, you know, work with this other company that they were able to, you know, write that code and teach me. And then we tested. And all the instructors had to go through it. So they all saw each other's course. And then, of course, they were like, oh, I like the way you did this. I wish I did that. And they're already talking about, can I redo stuff over? Or like, we'll get there. Right now, we're pretty new. So, but good lessons learned, good retrospectives on what we have from that. So, yeah, we wanted this to be.
A good indicator of that is you don't need a big tutorial to use your system. It's really straightforward. And even the exam, I mean, there's no detailed instructions that say answer the darn questions, and if you get it right, you don't. So I think the simplicity of the system makes you wonder how much effort you must have put in to get to that simplicity.
I appreciate that so much. I think that simple is not easy, and we wanted to be, you know, all the team, we all talked about what the system would look like. And, you know, we've all taken online learning and online training, and it's sometimes really cumbersome and clunky. And it was like, we want to keep this as simple as possible. And you can take it on your phone or your tablet or on your PC. It all looks the same. It all works the same. And just to be logical, we have trainers from all over the world, part of that group of 29. And we've already had people from, you know, Switzerland and Germany, obviously the US, from Belgium. So we have a lot of different countries that are taking this. So we needed some simplicity and very logical approach of how to navigate and to go back and forth and to mark things. So that was a big goal. I appreciate that. That was.
I think you accomplished what you were after.
Well, good. Lee, I can't thank you enough for coming on board and being our ambassador. You know, I've always looked up to you and admired you. And when we had that initial conversation, just your excitement and your buy-in was, it was an easy decision for me and just, you know, for you to get excited about doing this. The thrill to have you on board.
Was getting a little in need of some excitement, so this is perfect timing for me.
Oh, okay. Well, we have a lot of excitement, so we'll keep you riled up. Yeah. Well, I love what you're doing. I love that you're part of our group, and I just can't thank you enough. And for those of you who are watching, again, if you've interacted with Lee, leave him a note here in the comments, and let's give him some excitement. You can come in here on YouTube and read your comments or whatnot. Lee, thank you very much for your time. And I know we have some other things coming up. If you'd like to learn more about the program, come over to PureManagementAlliance.com, or you can find Lee or myself on LinkedIn, and we'll be happy to direct you or answer any questions that you may have. Lee, thanks again for your time, and I appreciate you so much.
My pleasure, Joe. Take care.
Thank you.